There are two main things that always plagued my enjoyment of handheld gaming. The first is processing power. There's always a limit to what smaller hardware can do, so gaming on handhelds felt like a snack compared to the main meal of a console. The second is comfort. The controls usually feel cramped and unergonomic to my hands, but I'm here to tell you today that this telescopic controller might be the answer to tackling both of those birds with one stone. So let's find out how it's going to do this. This is the Gamesir G8 Plus. Hey friends, before we start this quick video, just want to say thanks to Gamesir for sending this over to me for the purpose of making this video. They've given me no instructions, so all opinions are my own. The G8 Plus costs about £65 and it's available from my affiliate links below. Telescopic controllers are designed to clamp on mobile devices, so there's no need to use the mostly awful touch controls. This one is compatible with Android, iOS, Switch, and because it can disguise itself as a DualShock 4, it also works with Macs and probably PCs. There's no need to do any special trickery for this. It's as simple as putting it into Android/iOS mode and it's ready to connect to iPads and Macs. The layout is very close to the Nintendo Switch Joy-Cons and the side profile looks like a Series X controller. Xbox controllers are goated, so it's a good choice to emulate this style. The G8 Plus handles aren't quite as comfortable as the Series X, PS5 or Switch Pro ones in my hands, but they feel better than plenty of other controllers I've used and definitely better than handling a phone. This is down to the roundness of the handles and how it sits on my bottom fingers, but I still think Gamesir did a good job here considering how much tech is packed into each side, so the bulkiness is understandable. Each side has its own battery and the controller has a gyroscope and haptic feedback, which I tested briefly with Mario Odyssey. I can confirm that both features work for the duration that I tested them. The handles are comfortable enough to address my first big concern with handheld gaming, since it's super close to feeling like a full-sized console controller, which is nice for long hours of play. The G8 Plus addresses my second concern, which is processing power through compatibility. I listed some platforms that it would work with earlier, and that included iOS, which means you can get the PS Remote Play app or the Xbox app and play your full-sized consoles whilst you're on holiday. I was so hooked on Unicorn Overlord recently, as I do with SRPGs, that I had to bring my iPad with me on holiday for my daily fix. My experience with remote playing my PS5 would have been 100% better if I had a G8 Plus at the time, because touch controls on an iPad aren't the best for most console games. I just want to quickly note that iPads currently have some sort of bug or hardware deficiency that makes PS and Xbox Remote Play stutter every half a second. This problem doesn't exist on my iPhone and probably not on Android tablets either, so if you're remote playing a console, the experience is not the best on iPads. That's a massive shame because the iPad mini is the ideal size for remote play. There's still some good Apple Arcade and emulation options for the iPad though, so it's not a complete bust. And just to be clear, this isn't a problem with the controller. I'm just warning you if your intention is to pair this with the iPad for PS and Xbox Remote Play. I've been using this with my iPhone and iPad and it's officially listed to be compatible with devices up to 215mm, but it's possible to extend it further for larger tablets too. I won't be doing this myself, but I will link to a YouTube video below that shows it in action. Check it out if you have a large tablet. Finally, it weighs 314 grams, which is slightly heavier than a DualSense at 281 grams. Now let's look at the controller in closer detail. The silicone grips on either side have slits, and I assume this is to help with heat dissipation and a sound path for the speakers. There's a nice little detail at the bottom and top of the grip where they've added grooves to avoid volume and power buttons. This is a nice surprise and shows that a lot of thought went into the design process. The side grips as well as the seat is made of silicone. The textured seat is nice and adds a premium look and feel to the controller. There's a capture button here, but what it does will depend on what you're playing. For example, on the PS5, this becomes the touchpad button, and the minus over here is the capture button. The mode button next to it is used for adjusting the hair triggers and vibration intensity, and there's a small light here that shows the charging status. The ring around the home button also lights up to show which controller mode it's in, and for all of these options, I think it's best to download the app, which is very helpful because it's easier to adjust everything with visual aids. The analog sticks can be swapped out and 3 extras are included in the box. The default ones look and feel a lot like the DualSense sticks, but the tension is closer to the Switch Pro ones. The magnetic faceplate can be easily lifted off, and this is how we swap the sticks and button orientation if we want to. Round the back, there are 2 paddle buttons and the grip is textured. At the bottom is the pairing button and a USB-C socket for charging. I'm sure you've noticed already, but the quality of this controller is very high. Construction is precise, the materials are top notch, and it definitely feels like it's worth the money. I'm sure you've seen telescopic controllers on Instagram that are much more expensive than this. Before I share my thoughts on the G8 Plus, I want to quickly show you how useful the app is. First off, there's the battery status, which is worth the download alone. And when we click on the controller icon, all the options are here. We can go into the button settings and map the paddles just by tapping here and choosing which input we want to map. And then there's the joystick settings, vibration, the hair triggers, which makes them activate in full without having to pull them all the way down. Some Pro controllers allow you to adjust the travel stop early, but that's not the case here. I wouldn't expect a feature like that in this price point anyway. So it's pretty clear that the app is worth downloading. There are so many options and adjustments, there's no way you're going to remember the button combinations for all of them. And this way you won't have to dig out the instructions when you need to make some changes. Well done on this app, Gamesir. I've been using the G8 Plus a lot over the past week, and I really like how much it's opened up handheld gaming for me. As I mentioned in the beginning of this video, I'm not a massive fan of playing games on my phone or iPad, but this high quality, comfortable controller has got me looking for new experiences on these devices that I didn't consider before. Let's go through 3 pros and 3 cons. First pro, it makes handheld gaming comfortable. It's a combination of the big 3 console controllers, and those are certainly great ones to mimic. The second pro is that it's easy to use. If you're just using this in the most basic way possible, you can expect everything to work as it should. All the buttons are accounted for, so transitioning from console to this feels intuitive. The last pro is the price, especially the price to quality ratio. We've all bought tech and accessories before and been disappointed by the cookie cutter quality. The G8 Plus feels legit, from the packaging, the well-made product, and even a useful app. From what I understand, Gamesir have already started to make an impression on the market, and it seems like a good time to get in on the action now, whilst they're still relatively new and the prices are reasonable. Now the first con, which is not a problem for me, but I have to mention it because it's a feature some of you might want, is the lack of pass-through charging. There's no USB-C insert on the side like the G8 before this, but in my opinion, having pass-through would cause issues with compatibility because the size of our devices will vary. Not having it keeps the G8 Plus versatile, and since the controller connects via Bluetooth anyway, you can just prop up your device somewhere and charge it whilst you play. Speaking of compatibility, I wish the volume and power button grooves were larger. I think these small bits here aren't completely necessary. This works with my iPad when it's naked, but even with my slimmest case, it raises the iPad enough to clash with the buttons. This isn't a massive inconvenience for me because my case is easy to take off, but I'm sure there are plenty of you out there who have cases that are cumbersome to remove. With my phone, there are no issues at all. The last con is more of a nitpick. It would be great if Gamesir sold these alternative sticks on their website, because if you end up liking these, you have to choose just one side to install it in. I personally like the default ones, but I'm not sure what I'll do if they ever wear out. I also think upping the price by £5 to £10 and adding a carry case would have really completed the package and gave it some wow factor. I did see a case on AliExpress, and I'm not sure if that's an official one, but I'll add the link in the description if you're interested. But again, these are nitpicks, and at the asking price, it's quite a good deal in my opinion. So to wrap this all up, I think it's a great piece of kit if you enjoy playing games on the move and you want the precision and comfort that comes with console controllers. If you already have a tablet and want to play games on it, whether that's through the App Store, emulation or remote play, this will absolutely open up that world to you and get rid of a lot of touchscreen frustrations. If the G8 Plus sounds good to you, check out the links below to support my channel. I appreciate you dropping by today, and don't forget to like the video if you found it helpful and subscribe for more gaming and tech videos. And if you're looking for a controller for your fighting games, click on this video here.